like King James.
Sounds like it is straight from the motherfucking cassette.
I hate when you get to a point in your career where people feel like they got you figured out and there's no more surprises. I like people to press play on my stuff and still be surprised.
Turn it up, baby. All the stuff's necessary, yo. Hey, yo. Okay. Hey, yo. Son.
One.
What's going on, everybody? Definitely not late to the show at all. Always on time on this manic Monday. Welcome back to the Dusttin Bowerman Show. We're finally live after what was honestly, I don't know about you guys, but honestly, that was a much needed, fantastic weekend. I had time to actually get a fucking haircut for once. I had time to watch some of these pro events that happened over the weekend. VCT, LCS, Counter-Strike, dude. IEM Katowice going on, dude. There's a lot of awesome shit that happened over the course of the weekend.
BlizzCon,
a lot of
dude.
BlizzCon happened. True.
Yeah.
You know,
Did you see any news about Warcraft 3 Reforged? Anyone? Anything
I
at all?
did not. No, I did not.
It's dead.
Dead. It's fucking gone. Max got a haircut, by the way.
Dude.
Nice haircut, Max.
How
Looking
big
good.
my forehead is.
Yeah, show it off. Turn around. What's the back
Hey.
look like? What's the back look like, Max? Do a full angle. Oh, all right. Looking
Nice
kind
and
of
short.
clean. No receding
I don't
hairline
have
just
to-
yet.
I don't have to go get a haircut for months now.
Yep.
True. Yeah, Anthony got his last week too, right? I mean, everybody here is just staying clean shaven, clean. Because to be honest, it was looking pretty dire there for a minute, boys. It's looking pretty dire. But now we're on Monday, February 22nd specifically, 2021. We didn't want to announce the full date, obviously, but we're back. Week 8, guys. We're on week 8 of the show, and we've been around for nearly 2 months now. At the end of the month, yeah, that's crazy, isn't it? It's already
Going
been
strong.
2 months. Yeah, somehow, some way, we continue to persevere, even though everybody hates me specifically. Max and Anthony are still beloved, obviously, but you know how it is. I mean, actually, no, we're all hated on the show. And the more I think about it, actually, we're all
I know.
terrible human beings. We're all terrible fucking human beings. But speaking about terrible human beings, we have some
There's pretty
interesting,
awful guys here.
yeah, pretty interesting human beings today. There was a guy, not us specifically. We're not the awful guys. There's another guy that's awful though. In a guy known as For Connor. For people that want to know, I mean, that's the first thing up today, but we'll mention all the topics actually before we go into anything. We have For Connor being kicked out of Ms. Kiv's house in the OTK crew, but also that same crew that kicked Connor out, also not specifically the crew, I guess it was just out of Ms. Kiv's house. OTK has caught COVID-19. After making some precautionary moves, mutual agreements through Ginny themselves. We got some hate on when we cover that situation. We'll talk about it again here. Hopefully, it'll be in a decent light, however, though. And also, we're going to talk about a potential move to Twitch, guys. This is prominent because of the fact that we've been live here now on YouTube, like we said, for nearly 2 months now. And there might be some changes coming through, might not be. We'll see what happens throughout the course of the year. I'd like to hear your guys' feedback on this situation. We'll talk about that later. The problem with XQC is another thing. XQC was basically caught being an asshole in GTA R5 RP and has accused people like Summit for metagaming, pretty much. And for those of you that don't know, people know that basically Summit's been in GTA 5 RP for a little bit, and XQC is now back after being banned from the previous one, and now he's back once again to kind of fuck with people while he's pretty much done with it. So we'll talk about that later, and we'll talk about the problems with XQC as a whole, the problems he's had as a person getting along with other people in the scene. We'll talk about that. Then also, Elige made a good point on Twitter. He said, well, you don't really need to play 12 hours a day to be a professional player. As you know, that there's somebody in the Overwatch League known as Violet. Violet is known for being one of the most hardest working individuals in all of Overwatch League. Man plays like 24 hours a day, dude. He's playing a lot of fucking Overwatch. Elige says, you don't need to play that much. Why is this guy playing so much Overwatch, bro? You could be spending 5 to 6 hours spending that practice time efficiently, and then maybe spending another hour or two on VOD review, spending an hour or two on other situations, in-game mechanical practice, and then you're done. That's how Elige looks at it. And Elige, guess what? He's one of the best players in Counter-Strike right now. I think he was top 5 or top 10 on HLTV's list last year. Elige is a good player. In fact, he's a fantastic player. A great esports person to look at overall, considering he's so mechanically skilled at multiple different titles, not just Counter-Strike. It's just Counter-Strike he chooses to be his game. Similar to Sinatra, similar to some of these other guys, right? And then also, we'll have Anthony talk about this one. Basically, Daigo just won a tournament. A professional Street Fighter player won a tournament with a broken finger. Literally broken pinky. Man's fucking popping off in tournaments. Anthony will probably talk about that later. But first of all, this one was hotly debated behind the scenes, behind our question marks before this. Basically, to run you down, this guy known as For Connor was publicly ousted for being a racist, anti-Semitic, transphobic, sexist, bunch of other shit, basically, etc. You could literally put the whole gamut here for this guy in a friend's Discord, in a public Discord, and a lot of those screenshots were found and then posted basically to Twitter, into social media, and honestly, just Imgur is where we found him. And if you're wondering, who is this For Connor guy? Who is this dude, right? Who the fuck is this guy? If you're wondering, basically this dude lived with Mizkif for a little bit. And I don't know if he necessarily was from the era with Ice Poseidon, basically with live stream fails a while ago. Basically, Ice Poseidon was on there, and then there was a bunch of other guys that were kind of trying to tag along with Ice Poseidon. We're trying to kind of clout chase. And I don't know if he was necessarily with that crew. I know Mizkif was. And then he latched on to Mizkif somehow, was also in a Tyler 1 matchup where he played against Tyler 1 of League of Legends. This is kind of irrelevant. This is kind of just talking about backstory with For Connor. But he was kind of known as being like that dude that kind of, I don't know, just kind of leeches on to some top streamers, basically, is what the whole thing is. And in this scenario, he was at Mizkif's house. If you didn't hear about it last week, he was in Mizkif's house, and Trainwrecks was calling the entire crew out that was in this little house, in this little apartment, in this little section of the house, basically. And he was calling them all out for being pretty much unsympathetic or not sympathetic towards the situation happening in Texas, right? And Connor rebutted, he's like, oh, every house is equal without electricity. Oh, I could live a week or 2 weeks in the cold with my blanket, with just my blanket alone, right? And basically, Trainwrecks and him got into it. They got into it, and it got a lot of publicity. And after that, basically, people that were especially not liking Connor then kind of used this scenario to kind of oust the man for being racist and transphobic and anti-Semitic and a lot of other stuff. And you're wondering, why is that the case, Dustin? Why is this the case that this guy is all these things? Well, it's because he pretty much posted a shit ton of memes in this Discord that were racist, anti-Semitic, whatever, a bunch of other shit in that Discord. And from my perspective, I can kind of give my take only as a white Jewish boy, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the only take I can really give here. This whole situation is pretty warranted, you know? This whole thing is pretty warranted. He made a whole apology video. He made a whole bunch of other shit basically saying that he's, like, sorry, you know, and whatever. And he's getting kicked out of Mizkif's house, and he's not allowed back is what Mizkif said. So the whole situation is kind of sorting itself out for sure. My only situation where I was coming into this, where the reason that this was so rebutted is that in the background, I was like, okay, I want to try to find some area where we can give this guy a little bit of slack, because I'm sure he's getting a shit ton of hate, and this is not. I'm sure everything's being dealt with reasonably, you know. But like my take was, I guess, my take on this situation, which was a bad take. I will admit, the crew will admit, I will admit, this is a bad take. I'm looking for something to kind of, you know, show some, like, give this guy the benefit of the doubt. But there really is nothing to give this guy the benefit of the doubt, right? Max and Anthony, there's nothing to give this guy the benefit of the doubt.
No,
that's what we were telling you beforehand. Is this guy fucked up big time? Like, if he did this as like a kid, as like maybe an early teenager, maybe you could possibly forgive him, see if he changes ways. But he's an adult.
No,
like, he's got to face up to it. He's just he's outright a racist, just a horrible person overall. It's like you can't be doing that. It's fucked up.
Yeah, you can't.
He was who we thought he was.
Yeah, we did think he was. What did we say about him before?
Like, we just called him a fucking idiot.
Yeah, he's an idiot.
Last time we didn't know quite who he was, because I guess he was like up and coming in the OTK house. I'm not too sure.
Yeah,
but
he had his big break in like Among Us and stuff, from what I found.
Yeah, but obviously now we know why.
Yeah,
he would be saying that stuff.
His screenshots were actually from like 2018, 2019, that era, pretty much. And that one, when I think when he was trying to make it as like a big streamer or whatever. Now, I don't know how old this guy is. We've tried to find information on it. I don't know if anybody can. I've tried to find how old this dude is, but his age is not anywhere. When I look up For Connor age, it looks up Connor from fucking Detroit Becomes Human, like that Connor, the actual fucking AI. So, and that actor is actually, that voice actor is also an awesome dude. Like, the guy has, like, I don't know if he's a big philanthropist, but I think he is. And is overall a great guy. Yeah, I don't know. He's like, I see him doing a lot of charity stuff or whatever. Like, he's actually like a good dude. I actually used to follow him. Mainly, listen, he's just a good person overall. I have to follow. This For Connor guy, however, not as much.
All I'm saying is any age is too old to have a Confederate flag in his background.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. It's like it's still bad to like be posting memes, but like you would still kind of have that like small excuse that's saying like, oh, I'm just a meme, I'm an edgy memer. But no, this guy's actually painting a Confederate flag in his house or whatever. That's way
looks like
beyond
a dumbass.
crossing the line.
I mean, he just straight looks like it. Listen, I know I'm stupid, but I don't know if I'm that stupid to be doing that kind of shit 24/7. Like, come on, man. Like, my perspective, just being as a, and I understand people, like I said, people have this problem. I understand it. I get it. We're not fucking, 3 extremely diverse individuals on our show. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like we're that like crazy community to go to when you want to see people's opinion on diverse situations or whatever. But like, listen, my only perspective is, like I said, a white Jewish boy. Like, I don't know if I've never been like someone's never been directly anti-Semitic to my face. Maybe it's a little bit more something that's a little bit more hidden, I guess, in society, like anti-Semitism, where because like
if they look at your face or something, they wouldn't really know.
Yeah, you can't tell I'm Jewish, right? I mean, maybe you can tell from my schnoz or whatever, but like besides that, you can't really tell I'm Jewish, right? So, like for the most part, from what I could tell, like the only hate I really got for being Jewish was when I was in middle school. I would just like always exclaim I was Jewish or something like that. Like I was just that kid. I was like, I'm Jewish. I'm so special. Look at me. Like that was pretty much what I was doing back in middle school, and people hated me for that. But that was like the worst case for me, is that people didn't like how I was like gloating how I was Jewish, pretty much. But like in this situation, like the dude just posted, like from what I saw from he just posted like a Spider-Man meme that was just literally a swastika. It was just Spider-Man shaped into like a swastika or whatever. And I was like, sheesh, man, like, is that funny to people? Like, I just can't, like, I don't even understand. Really, I just don't understand it. Like, for the most part, it's just not funny. Maybe it is to some people. Like, okay, like I always got those jokes. Like even nowadays, like not from you guys specifically, but like back in the day, back in, whatever, like a lot of people that are edgier and a lot of people that kind of have that kind of humor, they like to make like oven jokes to me a lot of the time. You know what I'm saying? Like that's like their big thing is like just like, oh, hey, there's an oven over there, Dusttin. How about you could oh, look at that. Is it ready for you or whatever? Like that's like the extent of the anti-Semitism I get, But like in my head, I'm just like, okay, that's kind of like haha funny. Everybody makes that joke 24/7. So it's like you just kind of get used to it, I suppose. Like it's just like whatever. It's like I don't even think it's necessarily funny, but like people think it's funny. So, because they think it's funny, I guess it can be funny. It's not necessarily socially tolerated. I'm not trying to say like that kind of stuff is socially tolerable. But it's a lot more common than you think. You know what I'm saying? Seeing these people that just make edgy jokes and that kind of stuff. Like there's just like, should we condemn people for making edgy jokes?
Yes.
Yes. Publicly, yes. But I guess the world's not like, it's not like we're not better off without those jokes, I guess. It's like, do I really think that the oven joke is funny anymore after the 1,000th time? Probably not, probably not. But hey, comedy is subjective, I guess. Comedy is subjective. But I don't know, dude. This situation for Fort Connor is not salvageable. The dude is literally everything that he was outed for.
Did he make a good apology video?
I mean, I watched like 5 minutes of it. I think his apology.
How long is the tissue box?
He had the teary eyes. He didn't have a tissue box. He was not looking at the camera. He was looking away from the camera. He was talking to his chat. His chat was spamming love in the chat. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, the dude's gonna have his echo chamber now. That's what happens, I guess. Is that usually these people get echo chambers, and that's how it is. That's how the internet works, I guess. You can't kick him out forever. I mean, maybe Twitch could ban him or something, but
I mean, wish. You really don't need much more proof than this.
No, but I think the dude's lost quite a bit. He's probably lost all his friends. He's lost all the punishment is already coming to him almost.
His punishment he deserves is losing his income for it.
You think that like that? You think he should lose his income?
Twitch is banned for less.
Well, true. Yeah, I could see him being banned. So. I guess he could just find another job. Like people were saying, he could find another job outside of the entertainment industry, basically, at this point.
Like, this isn't his place to be.
Oh, true. Yeah, he's gone. He's donezo. I mean, he's just kicked out. He's done. He's streaming or whatever. Do whatever he wants.
Doesn't have the OTK name now either.
No, I don't know if he ever did actually. I don't think he was necessarily in OTK. I think he was going to their house, to Mizkiv's house and stuff like that. But I think he was definitely wanting to join that group of people, I guess.
The biggest reason I want him banned is just so that he can't keep promoting his own voice, right? Like I want him to have to I don't.
You don't think he learned from this?
No.
You don't think he learned from this?
Do you?
You don't think there's? Listen, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not saying he won't learn from this. I'm not saying that he would be capable of learning from this. I'm just saying. I'm not saying, I don't think this guy is salvageable. I really don't. However, I do think people should be given the right to return from redemption and to redeem themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that no matter what situation, I think that these types of people should be able to, somehow redeem themselves. I don't know what it is. I can't come up with that necessarily, but I don't think that just permanently kicking somebody in the ball sack where somebody this is different from jail time, I suppose. So I guess removing him from Twitch would not be the end. Like, it's not like he's being murdered or sent to jail or something like that. So
yeah.
Okay, I'm rationalizing it in my head. Maybe he doesn't deserve a shot at redemption. Maybe he doesn't.
Maybe. I don't know if he was like openly like this in his streams though. So maybe.
No, yeah, I don't think so.
But the way I see it is, he probably will be a little more open about it. Now that people know this is who he is, he will try to cater to those people who will come to him for this reason, right?
You think so?
It could be.
To play the meta.
Yeah, right? But I don't think you can like openly attract fucking white supremacists, dude. Like, I don't see that being a thing.
You can do it to a degree.
All right. I mean, that is fair. Yeah. Jesus Christ. Yeah, he would need to have some Logan Paul type of growth for sure. I agree with Tolberto on this. That's what Tolberto said. But the thing is, even Logan Paul isn't even fucking like out of the shadows from his sins in the past. Like, the dude literally went to the fucking, was it him that went to the suicide forest in Japan?
That was him.
Like, that's pretty fucking bad, dude. Like, this dude is still fucking terrible, like, in that regard. Like, just recording dead bodies for YouTube. Like, sheesh, bro. Like, I don't know. Unless you're the news station or something. But, like, even then, I don't know, dude. I don't even think Logan Paul's out of the blue with his shit, Like,
yeah. But
they're just kind of, it's just a stain.
Like this situation, there's just a whole bunch of other people that still watch him and love him for that.
Yeah.
You gotta ban him.
Can't really change it.
Well, I mean, whose house he was in to transition. Just away from this topic, Core Connor's great and all. However, OTK, the One True Kings group, aka a streamer group full of S-Fan, Miskiff, fucking Nick, who else? Russell, a bunch of other people, Maya, this whole crew, basically, Rich. This whole crew of people is a entire, I mean, obviously you know this at this point if we talked about this. However, for those that don't, OTK is a streamer group that streams on Twitch or whatever. They do some stuff together, live in houses by each other, live in Texas to avoid, taxes and whatever else they have to do, you know what I'm saying, in their life. But this crew recently had a COVID-19 issue. They recently had a COVID-19 problem, guys. I mean, obviously, we've seen the take from, I want to pull it up where Trainwrecks talks about it before, but Trainwrecks is also involved. We'll bring him back later, as he was in the Four Connor situation. But OTK's stream group members, Russell and Esfond, all tested positive for COVID-19. Russell being more on the tail end of COVID-19, so he's almost finished. However, Esfond is at the very beginning of the symptoms, right? He just tested positive, and he's just the beginning of it. The two tested positive for their routine pre-event screening, and everyone else tested negative. I'll just read just to give some context, I do want to be able to read the full statement, so bear with me here, guys. I do want to get their full statement across, just so we can at least cover the facts or whatever before we get into my shitty opinions, all right? So let me get that across first, okay? So the OTK network basically tweeted on their Twitters. They said, to the OTK community, we have concluded our routine pre-events COVID screening. The results have shown that Russell and S-Fan have tested positive for COVID-19. Fortunately, everyone else in the house has tested negative. The test administrator informed us that Russell appears to be on the tail end of the virus, with the possibility that all traces of the virus may disappear from a symptom within the next few days. Esfon, on the other hand, looks to be on the early stages of contraction. Based on that timeline, we respect Russell may have contracted the virus during the historic winter blizzard that has been ravaging Texas. I almost read that wrong. For those that are unaware, the recent storm has left millions without power, crucial supplies for access to clean water. Why are they bringing this up? All right. Texans out of their homes, whatever, in quarantine in order to secure safe living conditions for themselves and their families. We are currently working with Russell to contact any and all individuals he may have been exposed to over the past 2 weeks. And in the meantime, Russell and Asfan both will be quarantining, and a new test is in order to be placed for them coming this week. OTK will be postponing all of our events in the meantime. Our thoughts are with S-Fan and the millions of Texans who have been affected by the aftermath of this calamity and the millions of families worldwide affected by this disease. We want to take a moment to thank all of our men and women who are fighting on the front lines. Oh my God, this is a full-on fucking response, bro. Jesus. Early responders are truly unspoken heroes. Okay, I mean, I guess that's nice. You know, they didn't have to put that there, but they did. So that's nice. But basically, these two guys got COVID-19 after there was a little bit of drama with Ginny. So just to go back on what happened, okay, I understand we were wrong in this scenario. There were some Ginny fanboys in the comment section. I understand that and understand we weren't trying to necessarily defend OTK. I wasn't back then when basically we mentioned how Ginny was not taking quarantining seriously, okay? That was the only point we were trying to touch on. We were trying to touch on you should probably take this shit seriously if you don't want to be affected by COVID-19. If you don't want this scenario to bring you any hate, you should probably take it seriously. You know what I'm saying? That's all we were really trying to say is that you should take COVID-19 seriously. And then Ginny, so the part we did get wrong is Ginny and OTK departing was a mutual agreement. You know what I'm saying? It was like a mutual. Ginny's leaving. S-Fan himself was not very safe with this whole thing. Some of these people involved were not very safe themselves, so they weren't really wanting to talk. You know what I'm saying? At the same time, so like this whole situation with Ginny and OTK were two separate occasions. Like Ginny could not have given them or contracted COVID-19 from OTK, and OTK same thing for Ginny. You know, so there was that situation basically where that streamer, like I just wanted to bring this up because we had some hate from this before, where it's just like Ginny in this situation was not necessarily on the right side or the wrong side, and neither was OTK. We were just trying to say that you should probably take COVID-19 seriously. In this case, it doesn't seem like OTK has. And even Trainwrecks is talking about this because Trainwrecks was at their house. Trainwrecks was in this situation and was trying to take this shit very, very seriously. Very seriously. So Trainwrecks was trying to quarantine himself before coming to the house. He was trying to do everything possible to stay away from this whole disease thing. And he even tweeted about this scenario. He's been tweeting and deleting basically for a long time now at this point. He tweeted basically, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I won't know for sure until my second test, but I think we will either all have it or somehow S-Fan and Russell snuck out of the house and went on some Harold and Kumar type adventure without us knowing. So they pretty much, this whole situation is where S-Fan is seemingly in the wrong. I don't know if we can necessarily hate on them specifically for contracting COVID-19. Like, I think from our situation, I hope S-Fan and Russell end out, like, okay from this. Like, I think a lot of people have even, like... Now, I don't know about... This is kind of taking not necessarily a shot at S-Fan, but S-Fan's, like, a big dude, isn't he? Like, he's a big guy. And he's muscular, but he's also, like, pretty big, you know? Right? Like, he's... If you look at his frame, the guy is pretty humongous, okay? Not to like say anything bad about the guy. I'm sure he's muscular or whatever, but he's got some fat on him, you know what I'm saying? He's got some fat. And in that situation, I think people have always said that COVID-19 attracts the fat people. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is like a thing where obesity has a correlation, right?
Yeah. I was wondering where you're going with that.
Yeah, I was just saying how there was a correlation with obesity. And then Samantha said that Train literally hasn't left his house in like a fucking year, bro. Like, this dude is hardcore quarantining. And after all this time, he still caught it. After all this time, he still caught it because of a couple dumbasses. That's what seemingly happens, bro. That's how this whole... You can do everything right. And then, boom, you run into the wrong dumbass and you're fucked almost, you know? And I guess that's what happens. If he catches it, he's kind of fucked, you know?
What happens when you come in contact with a lot of people or you live with a bunch of people.
Yeah, true.
True. I mean... But... I don't know. I feel like with what they said in the tweet, it makes sense though, because in Texas they're going through a lot of shit right now, and
yeah, we can't blame them too much.
They got to go out and actually survive, or else they'll just freeze up and die. You know?
Yeah, you could fucking die out there, son. It's no joke.
You can't just have a blanket and survive.
Could just have a blanket, as Fort Connor said, dude. Oh my God, no way, no fucking way. But this whole scenario is kind of interesting. I think we talk about OTK quite a bit on our show. I just realized we do talk about OTK quite a bit on our show, and it's because they do have a lot of top streamers in their group, and they do kind of, I don't know, they just have a lot of controversial figures. Obviously, they hang out with a lot of controversial figures. I mean, as you know, and as people said, Mizkif kind of was one of those guys that departed from the Train Society, or not from the Train, from the CX community, aka Ice Poseidon's community. He was one of the guys to kind of depart from that one and make his own thing. And that's what it is for him, I guess, over here, is that he's kind of taken this group of people that might be a little bit bad to some degree, and create this whole group. Now, I love the group, though, however. I think it's awesome. And good for Mizkif, by the way. Mizkif got sub 1 hour on Mario speedruns, on Mario 64 So congratulations. Good for Mizkif. Get a clap for him. Congratulations, Mizkif. Well, you have done sub 1 hour in Mario 64. However, there has been recent screenshots of him from that same era as well. From the same thing with For Connor. Now, this is like a separate thing entirely. Maybe we'll talk about it if there's more news and more information on it. But it's on it was like kind of up there in terms of the Reddit post. We haven't seen anything massive come out of it just yet. Maybe we'll eventually. But Mizkif is interesting in himself. And this whole OTK group is kind of fun to watch and observe. And I think that their fans will probably not like us after this whole thing, to be honest with you.
Would
but
you
like,
live there?
Well, in Texas?
In the OTK?
Oh, in
Would you be a part of
OTK?
them?
I mean, I would like to talk to him at some point. That'd be cool to talk to him. However, that probably won't happen. So I think in this regard, we can kind of be roasting them for whatever, Yeah. We can roast them for however long we want. But I'm not saying, listen, I don't think that anybody's necessarily in the wrong. Like I said, I hope that Esfond and Russell end up okay out of this whole scenario. And I hope all of them do end up okay as well. And it does stink. It's like we can't really roast them for this. It does fucking stink. It's just Trainwrecks is also roasting them for this scenario because he's just like, I've been quarantining for so long and I still fucking get it, bro. I mean, you got to feel for Trainwrecks in this scenario more than anybody, which is interesting. Like we said, like Trainwrecks in this scenario probably, I guess not. He doesn't deserve it, And I think in the past you could say that somebody like Trainwrecks is controversial. And nowadays, maybe not as much. Maybe he's more he's turned a fucking new leaf, right? He's
he's the reasoning.
The redemption arc of fucking Trainwrecks, bro. It's actually kind of cool to see, honestly. It's kind of cool to see. But he is on the juice, probably. He is doing steroids. I just wanted to bring this up because obviously we have to mention that with everybody we bring up is that he probably is on the juice, just because he's so big. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he's not.
This podcast is juice-free.
Juice-free podcast. Nobody's on the juice yet. On the juice yet. You know what I'm saying? Yet. You know what I'm saying? Dude, Anthony's... Listen, I'm not saying about... I don't want to talk about Anthony's, whole setup over there. But listen, I'm just saying there's a chance that Anthony is on the juice. You know what I mean? He's looking kind of thick, Anthony.
If it's
That's
anyone,
all I'm saying.
It's him.
Of course, if it's anybody, it's Anthony. If anybody didn't do it, it probably would be Anthony, honestly. But speaking about our crew, since we can move on from OTK, instead of OTK, what is our the DBK?
The
I don't know.
C.
DBC was like BBC, but it's like DBC.
Yeah.
That is a good one. That would be funny if I should have just called the DBC.
Broadcasting.
Yeah, Dusttin Broadcasting Company. That does not make any sense at all.
Oh man, and we'd have our own version of Top Gear.
Oh yeah, we might have our own. We can go drive around fucking. Actually, we wouldn't. We just be on our computers.
Know anything about cars to begin with?
I know where the.
I know
oil
how to
goes.
change my. I know how to check if my oil is low.
Yeah,
that's about it. Can you guys change a tire?
Yeah,
I can do that.
That was my birthday present 2 years ago as my tire got blown out.
Oh no, dude!
Yeah.
I'm a fucking grown adult
birthday.
and I don't know how to change a tire, dude. Oh no. Maybe. I don't know.
That said, I don't carry around a tire jack with me though. Probably should.
Yeah, that's probably pretty
It's
important.
in my trunk.
Yeah, keep it in there. But speaking about our crew, there is the potential. I just wanted to talk about this. I just wanted to bring it up because it is a possibility for some of our live viewers on Twitch. I think this would impact you, or on YouTube, this would impact you more. We are debating behind the scenes in the crew chat, and then also myself personally, I'm debating. Should we move the live show to Twitch? Okay, and that's the premise of exactly what I wanted to bring up for the live viewers, from some of you guys in chat right now, for some of you guys watching the highlights or whatever. This is like a debate that we're kind of having, because what we do talk about here on our channel, on the Dusttin Bowerman Show, is a lot of Twitch. Like 80% of what we talk about has to do with Twitch. Like, look, both of the recent fucking ones up there, the topics over right here. Sorry, I'm pointing up for some reason. The topics right here. Literally, Connor and his shit is on Twitch. OTK on Twitch. You know what I'm saying? A lot of this XQC, fucking down over here by my T on Twitch. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of what we talk about is on Twitch. The only problem is that we're kind of uncensored to some degree. And I don't know if that would bode over well on Twitch. You know what I'm saying? Like, first of all, I don't know if that would bode over well on Twitch in terms of the fact that we say simp, virgin, incel, what other bad words fucking Twitch doesn't like. We probably would say those at some points. You know what I'm saying? So,
are those still banned?
Wait, what?
Those are still banned?
What? Incel, yeah, those just were banned
Incel?
recently.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Haven't been on Twitch in a while.
Stupid.
No, it's stupid. But regardless, the debate, I don't know if we could talk about the actual contract itself. I would like to, but I think that we might get in legal trouble if I did. So I'm going to refrain from actually talking about contractually what's going on Twitch. But basically, the problem is, it's a public forum? Okay. So according to the user conduct for Twitch partners and stuff like that, for Twitch, their whole scenario, they said, basically, you can't stream the same content or repost the same content you posted on Twitch until 24 hours after that piece of content is uploaded, basically, on their platform. So the premise is that if we streamed on Twitch, we could not stream on YouTube at the same time, unless we streamed 24 hours after we were live on Twitch, which kind of fucking sucks, to be honest with you. Like, that blows. Also, I'm sorry if you hear anything out the background. In the backyard, there's some fucking shit going on with some grass. I don't know if you could hear that, dude. I'm sorry. But basically, like, there's a chance that, if we streamed on Twitch, that we would not be able to, for one, post our highlights until 24 hours is over on YouTube. But second of all, the fact that we already kind of built a community here on YouTube to some degree. Like, we have people here that like watching live, and people that like watching the news segments and stuff like that live. And a large part of us streaming on YouTube is for our community. And I really care about that. I want, if possible, I would love to keep on the community on YouTube. And I think we can. Like, I think regardless if we choose to move to Twitch or not, we can still build up the community highlights or whatever, like we normally do. But just to be transparent, I want this channel to be transparent. I want my show to be transparent, and the show to be transparent with all of us, is because, we might as well. Like, we might as well tell you what we're planning, what we're doing, because we want to bring you guys along with us, like along the journey of making a solid show and making a fun show that's entertaining to watch. That's the entire purpose. So, in that regard, we're having these debates of whether to go to Twitch or YouTube, because, to be honest, a lot of our shit isn't really relevant to YouTube. A lot of the shit we talk about does not include YouTube content creators, right? It mainly includes Twitch content creators, right? It mainly includes Mizkif, XQC, the OTK group, I guess, overall. These guys that are all streaming on Twitch. And, I suppose it doesn't really necessarily have to do with YouTube. So maybe, in that regard, we're streaming on the wrong platform is kind of the idea that we kind of go into it, right? It's like, okay, should we be on Twitch or YouTube? Maybe we'll do a poll. But I think what people notice is that, so we take polls on our community tab on YouTube. I post a poll daily, by the way. People say my polls suck, but I do post polls daily because algorithm, for those that don't know, basically polls are broken. Anyway, that's regardless beside the point. Basically, we post polls daily, and people have noticed from the poll section, it's like a lot of our community is biased, right? A lot of our community is very, very biased, like our YouTube community is. Like, I post, what's your favorite game out of these four? Overwatch, Diablo, World of Warcraft, fucking whatever else, right? And then 90% of people said Overwatch, right? So it's pretty obvious that 90% of our viewers right now are Overwatch fans. Okay, I get that. I understand that, right? And then, for example, when I posted what's better, Twitch or YouTube, 80% of people say YouTube or whatever, right? So it's like there is a large bias in people saying that YouTube is better than Twitch from our platform. That's what we noticed, right? So there's a chance that we just go to Twitch just because of the fact that that's what's maybe more, more accessible for our show, I suppose. They're more relevant. But I think we'd still, regardless, be on YouTube. I'd love to see what you guys think on YouTube and in our chat or whatever. I'd like to see what you guys think. Let me know. Or let me know in the comments or whatever.
If we do go on Twitch, we would still have those highlight videos go up on YouTube, right?
Yeah, I think we might be because I don't think we even need to do it delayed, because I think maybe it's because it's its own. If it was the actual live content, then I think it could. I don't think we would need to be on delay, because I think it's different content, because that it just means the direct live broadcast. I think that can't be on YouTube, but I think you can take segments because that's your own content outside of, because it's segmented or whatever. We would need to look into it, but yes, they would still be on YouTube. But yeah, like, I really just want to know what the community thinks, I suppose. What you guys think in the comment section, what you guys think in the chat. Because, it depends. Like, I think potential for growth is big on YouTube, but also in terms of what I already have on Twitch, like, I'm partnered already. I have a lot of stuff already set up for YouTube. So it's like, or for you Twitch rather, where it's like we're not as established on YouTube. So maybe we would need time to establish ourselves before we actually live stream more on YouTube. But there, this is a hotly debated topic that I think I'd like to get your guys' feedback. You know what I'm saying? I'd like to get your guys' feedback. Yeah, I think Twitch would benefit viewership-wise for sure. And I think that's a large portion that, like, personally, I like to see. I like to see viewership growth for our show. Like the YouTube, the highlights and stuff we do are still fantastic, and they're great, and they're a large part of what's keeping the show running. But like me personally, goals-wise, I would love to see us, build live viewership, I guess. So that's just to be transparent. That's the whole scenario, I guess. We're having that debate, and I would like to see your guys' opinion.
Will we get banned, though? We will see.
Would we get banned?
Just got to avoid some specific words.
Yeah, we would probably need to avoid normal words that we would avoid.
Get it out of the system before we move.
Yeah, I don't know if we would be banned for talking about, because I think that you can get banned for bad-mouthing streamers on Twitch, actually. Oh. So, yeah, I don't know. We kind of do that to some degree. So maybe we would get banned. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll read that later. There's an issue, guys. There's an issue plaguing most top streamers in every game that becomes popular. Now, I don't necessarily want to say it's a big issue, and I don't want to say it's necessarily the worst thing ever, because, yeah, I don't know. I'll just get into it. The XQC, right? A lot of people say there's a problem with XQC. And you're wondering, what's that problem? What's the problem with XQC? Why is he getting so much hate, right? Why does he have so much drama surrounding him in literally every game, multiplayer game he swaps to? What is with this, right? Let me run you down why we're talking about this right now. Basically, in No Pixel, in GTA 5 RP, XQC was paid off by a cop to but interrupt with a bunch of street racers in GTA 5 RP. And for those that don't know, just to give a quick rundown, GTA 5 RP is obviously GTA 5 the game, right? But then they took it and they made it into a roleplay server where you can roleplay your day-to-day life or whatever, right? And a bunch of streamers came into this server, XQC being one of them after he was banned in the previous one in No Pixel 2.0, I'm pretty sure. But he crashed into a racer, basically, right? And after this scenario, the racers then fucked with XQC back. I don't exactly know what they did, but some had a comment on it. He was just like, okay, bro, you need to grow up, XQC, right? Like, he had a pretty reasonable take. Like, he was just like, okay, he didn't even say that. He didn't even say that. He didn't even tell XQC to grow up. He basically said, I can understand XQC's perspective. It's like XQC's tilted. XQC's upset he got fucked with by the street racers, right? And XQC thought that the street racers / Summit were stream sniping. He was making an outlandish claim that they were stream sniping when they were not, right? They were just fucking with XQC back because he fucked with them during the street race, obviously, right? So there's this big drama basically going on where XQC kind of sends his viewers to, not necessarily, he doesn't even send the viewers, but his viewers naturally will head off and kind of berate other streamers, other Twitch chats, whatever. And his community will kind of do that kind of thing, right? So that's kind of the issue, is that his community will either feed him information early hand, and he won't necessarily realize it or whatever, or his community will kind of go off and just be hating on another community and be extremely toxic, right? And I think Summit's main issue is that if this was him, right? If this was Summit, if Summit's community went out and started harassing people, right? Started going out and actually being tilted at individuals or whatever, right? Summit would put an end to it, basically, what he's saying. Like, Summit would just, stop it, boys, okay? Calm it down. Everybody bring it back, right? XQC does not necessarily do that, and I think that leaves a lot of people in this boat where they just don't like XQC because of it, right? And I don't necessarily know if that's entirely the case, like if I agree with that entirely, but I don't think that's the entire, problem with XQC, right? I think the root of the problem and the biggest problem that XQC has, or the biggest problem that people have with XQC, is the fact that he is, he just always gets into these arguments that he doesn't want to lose, right? So, for example, this is kind of how he is as a person. Back in the day, right? If you look at the early days of Overwatch, back before XQC was a big streamer, he would get into massive arguments for hours with other people on the scene, right? So, an example. An infamous example, XQC versus Michael. I've talked about this before. Michael was also an Overwatch professional player at the time. And before XQC and Michael were any notable figures of any degree, they would be competitors against each other. XQC played on a team called Arc 6. Michael played on my team known as Kingarner, right? And there'd always be these arguments in Discord between XQC and Michael that would last hours upon hours upon hours, right? And if you're wondering who's Michael, who's this Michael kid, you might know, if you ever watch Fortnite or whatever, you might know the Fortnite guy or watched in the beginning. Basically, Michael became a drama YouTuber that would just be talking about these situations like in Fortnite that happened or whatever, right? And that's where Michael went off around the same time that XQC became a big streamer and did whatever he wanted, right? So this has always been a problem for XQC, is the fact that he just can't, let things go, right? He can't let things go. He can't hold anything back and will always go kind of full force because he either A, wants to be an entertainer because that's who he is, or B, just can't hold himself back because he just kind of, I don't know. He just maybe in his head, he's never lost an argument. And he just thinks that he's just the greater person in these situations. I don't entirely know. I don't want to speak on his subconscious or whatever, right? But it does seem like in every scenario, XQC just doesn't want to lose, right? Even in in games where it's not competitive, he just doesn't want to lose, right? And it's kind of
the last time when this happened, back in like Rust, he kept on saying like he's like a super competitive guy, and this is just how he goes. And now that I think about it, like it happened in Rust, it happened in GTA, happened to Among Us, Overwatch, in every single game that he goes into.
Yep.
I don't
Where
know.
He has these interactions with other people. It's just kind of I don't know. It's just who he is, man. I don't like. Can we blame him?
Expect it from him now.
Yeah, if you interact with him, you expect it. And I think a lot of people want him banned from the GTA 5 RP server. But they're saying the mods don't want to because it brings viewership.
Yeah.
But people are saying that
it's just what people. That's what you're going to get when you invite XQC to something. You're going to get toxicity. But you're also going to get viewers. And viewers is what you really care about more than anything else.
Yeah.
True. They probably realize that. They're like, okay, him being here is probably adding more than taking away, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think in this scenario...
if you get pissed at him, just do what Summit did and just go after him in GTA.
Create your own drama to get even more viewers. It's easy.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole thing is kind of interesting. I mean, I'm sure there's a meta to it. Like, I'm sure there's more of a meta to it than we're talking about here. But yeah, I mean, it's like XQC is seemingly, this is like Reddit psychology, but they're like, he's trying to do more and more to get banned. You know what I mean? Because he doesn't really, he's like, okay, I'm done with this. I'm bored. It's like, it's time to move on. So in Reddit's POV, they're like, okay, he's just trying to do this to get kicked, to basically get removed from this whole situation is what he's trying to do. And maybe he is, but I mean, I guess who are we to judge that? But I think that's the biggest problem with XQC is the fact that he just always gets in these arguments that he doesn't need to. Like, that's just what happens, right? And it creates more drama than it needs to.
Yeah, it sounds like that's where he gets fun from. It's just fun for him to do that.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't get enough stimulus in life anymore. Maybe he's just fucking at the top and he just doesn't even feel anything. Maybe he's No, I'm just kidding. He's probably great. He's probably still fucking happy or whatever, right? Still drinking his Coke cans 24/7 like Asmongold. These people that are not going to have teeth in a few years. That's just how it is, right?
Yeah, either way, it's good content.
Either way, it's good content, right? So recently there was a point, guys, that we'll move on to another topic unless Torberto's a bit busy with Mike Udall. Our guest on, by the way, at 4 p.m. PST in just a little bit. We'll have him on. He's going to be awesome. Or sorry, wait, that is 4 p.m. PST. He's awesome. Ex-Heroes of the Dorm champion, collegiate esports player, legend. We'll talk to him in a little bit, all right? We'll talk to him in just a second to kind of see what his thoughts are and stuff like that. However, since he is another pro player, since we have mentioned how in the past we're on the grind, right? Like, that's a big thing that we always mention. Right, we're grinders. We're out here doing what we can to make this show a success. Right, to make it pop. To make it pop. Yeah, to make it do whatever we want. In terms of entertainment, enjoyment, whatever. Right. So, what Elige mentioned and Elige said recently, a professional player for Team Liquid and a Counter-Strike player, Elige said, let me pull up the exact tweets, basically. But there was an argument. I'll give you a little bit of a not argument, but more of a debate, a debate. So there was a pro player for complexity. A Valorant complexity player known as Ohai. Ohai said, I firmly believe that the current grind mentality in esports isn't healthy for a large amount of players, content creators, and others involved. It definitely works for some, but everyone should constantly evaluate how they use their time and what productivity means to them, right? So this is what Ohai said. Then Elige, Team Liquid's Counter-Strike Pro player or whatever, said that wanting to grind 10 to 12 hours is not only not efficient, but it is bad for your mental health. You will not be able to keep that up. I have done that I have never done that my entire career, and I have been able to play consistently at higher heights every year with less, more efficient hours, not including practice hours, which IMO is the most efficient at 5 to 6 hours. And outside of the practice, 1 to 1.5 hours of mechanical practice, aka, aim lobbies or whatever. And then 1 to 2 hours of personal review, watching demos, aiming at fixing the problem, rather than trying to be 1,000 bajillion goddamn better than going on the grind, basically, and queuing up for useless stuff is basically what he said, right? Now, this is kind of interesting because of the fact that maybe this is like a negative mindset that people are in, right? Maybe it is a negative mindset that's, I'm on the grind, I'm a grinder, right? That's what it, like Hex recently, I was watching some Optic Hex being the owner of Optic Gaming, the Chicago Optic Gaming, and then also just Optic Gaming as a brand now again, and creator of it. He said, he's like, okay, I always talk about grinding. He said, this is a quote from him. He's like, I talk about grinding. You want to grind to be the top. You want to be grind to be the best. You want to be grinding, grind, right? And then he got backlash for that. He's like, why are you doing this, bro? Why are you talking about grinding when it's not healthy for other people? And he's like, okay, you're probably right. It's not, right? It's not healthy for other people. It's just what he does, right? It's just what he does to kind of keep himself accountable, to keep himself on the top, and that's in his head what he thinks keeps him at the top, right? Now, I don't know necessarily what I agree with here, right? Because Elige on one hand says more efficient time spent, smarter grinding is better than just going out there and just playing ranked for 12 hours or whatever, right? Like that is the better idea in his head than doing this other thing. I don't know if there's necessarily a right or wrong way. I mean, I'm sure maybe in years to come we'll find out there is. I'm sure we'll find out there is over time anyways. However, I don't really know, I don't really know what is the right way or the wrong way. Because to be honest, what worked for me whenever I played my best was I used to play 12 hours a day, right? That was what I did. But the only other time that I did not see myself performing well, whenever I did not play 12 hours a day, I didn't have like a backup solution, right? My only thing in my head, which was dumb, was to just play 12 hours a day of gaming, right? Of ranked, right? I scrim for 6 hours, right? Okay, scrim's done. Time to play ranked for another 5 hours, right? That was like the mentality to have back in the day, basically, right?
Can you go through your everyday schedule again?
So when I was at my most committed, which was I think before Overwatch League, I was playing. I want to say, so I would wake up, right? This was at the very beginning of Overwatch. So I don't know if this is a different tale than what it is now. But when I was at my most committed, I would, I don't know. I would just it differed. I mean, it was the normal gamer schedule. But basically the premise is I would wake up at fucking 1 or 2 p.m., right? I'd wake up at 1 or 2 p.m. I would then have my scrims. Or no, I'd wake up at noon, right? I would wake up at noon. I would have my scrims at 1 or 2, but as soon as I woke up, I went to play ranked, right? I would wake up, play ranked, get enough food from wherever to try to sustain myself for a little bit, get some caffeine in me, get fucking energized, right? Then I'd scrim for 6 hours, right?
So you would eat and play?
No, I would eat during my queues. So I was in queue for ranked mode, for Overwatch ranked mode. So you'd be in queue for 5 minutes, maybe at most, at the time. And I would sit in queue and eat while I'm in there, put it to the side, play, eat whenever I'm dead or whatever. And then I would just do that for an hour. Then scrims and practice happens. Then I would do that for 4 to 6 hours, right? Maybe usually 4 hours or so. And then after that, I would eat again, mechanically play off a stream or whatever for 4 hours or 3 hours or so. And then I would stream for another 4 or 5 hours or whatever. Sometimes I'd stream for 8 hours, immediately after practice, right? And I don't even think that was necessarily the most efficient, But that was the one way that I wanted to do it, right? It was the one way I wanted to do it because the other way Alicia's explaining is to go at it from a smarter perspective and to just practice efficiently and then do mechanical practice and then personal review, right? He's saying this more professional approach that not many people do is the right way, which I think so is true, right? I think that is the right way. However, I don't think that way also works for everybody. I think there's people like me that like wouldn't have done that, right? Like whenever I wasn't playing 12 hours a day or whatever, whenever I wasn't doing that time, I wasn't playing as good. Like, just to be frank, I was not playing as good of a player as I could have been, right? Because that was the only way I like knew how to do it, right? It was just to play 12 hours a day. Don't worry about individual VOD review, whatever, because I think most players look at it where they're like, okay, the only people doing individual, or not individual VOD review, but the only people that are, I don't know, just like looking at tips or guides or whatever, that kind of stuff, are like newbies, right? Like people are like, oh, that kind of stuff is like a newbie thing to do, right? However, when you look at it, I mean, everybody kind of should be doing that if it's a more professional approach. I definitely agree with him. Like, it's definitely the smarter approach than to just playing nonstop. But then you have people like Violet that are gods, right? That play 12 hours a day. But it's also like, I suppose the best comparison we could say is, okay, look at like bodybuilding, right? Look at professional bodybuilding. Like these guys, okay, you're like, oh my God, everybody's on drugs, right? Everybody's on steroids. So it's like, oh shit, this guy's the fucking sexiest dude in the entire world. Looks amazing with his muscles and looks massive. Why can't I look that good, right? So, well, in your head, you're like, okay, I need to do these drugs that he's on so I can get big like him, right? Where it's like, okay, no, just because Violet has an unhealthy way of playing the video game doesn't mean you should too, right? Just because an Overwatch League professional player has these unhealthy lifestyles doesn't mean you should too, or doesn't mean it's the only way to make it as a professional player, right? I guess, but I mean, it's the one thing that we know for certain works, though, right? Like, we know that hard work and dedication in general human society, it doesn't matter for anything, right? If you work hard, generally you'll be more likely to get success than if you don't, right? I mean, that should just be kind of common sense. If you don't work hard, you're not going to get the success that somebody that did work hard is usually, right? I think that's like a pretty common thing. But it doesn't mean that you should also do it, I suppose.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, if you play 12 hours a day, but you're just practicing the wrong things, who knows if you're actually getting good or not? Which is important why, like, in sports and stuff, it's always good to have a coach look at you.
A coach, yeah.
Go through it. But I think, like we said in the before, esports doesn't really have like too many respected coaches right now. Not every coach knows what the best thing to do is. So I guess for the most part, people just go like on what you said, just go 12 hours a day. They don't even review yourself.
It's just because it's the easiest.
Getting better.
It's like the easiest way to kind of make it, I suppose, right? Is to just kind of grind it out, and just figure out yourself what works for you, right? Mm-hmm. Or if you could do it, right? It's kind of, a lot of it is a self-learning process, right? Making it as a professional player. I think it is a self-learning process to see what you have to do it. And if you think it's the right thing, you're going to keep doing it, right? I mean, I don't know if I disagree with Alicia's take. I just don't think that everybody can do that, right? I don't think everybody, that, especially degenerates that play video games all day, are not the exact type of people that would be like, oh yeah, I'm going to be efficient with my time, right? Like, it's not the same people that are going to be like, oh, I want to adjust this so I have a healthier life. It's like, no, they probably are extremely unhealthy individuals, right? They're probably not doing everything to make sure that they're in the right mental state. They're in the right physical state, you know? That's just kind of how it happens, right? And I don't think there's a solution to fixing the grind mentality, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of how it is.
We've seen before, too, a lot of times, though, that there's a huge amount of burnout and mental...
Oh, yeah, true.
Burnout throughout the whole esports community, and
yeah, it doesn't last long.
We've seen a lot of people in the show that retired just because they just don't feel like playing anymore, and they've had depression and things like that because they're playing 12 hours a day sitting in front of a computer, and you're not even having a separate lunchtime. Like you said, you're just eating while you're queuing.
You're just going at it. Yeah, it can lead to a lot of mental things. Like, that's a good point. I mean, that's a good point, Max. I think, I don't know. It's not, it's definitely bad. It's not necessarily something that's just good, for sure. But it's like, That's what I mean. Like my main concern, like I mentioned, like you mentioned, like when I stopped playing Overwatch, I did not. Like, I haven't really touched Overwatch, like, actually. Like, I haven't played Overwatch. Like, I used to play Overwatch for, like, weeks straight, months straight, or whatever. I played maybe Overwatch once, twice, maybe 3 times since I retired, right? Like, that's just because of the fact that I was in such a... I put myself in a spot where I would just kind of constantly grind, right? And I didn't want to look at VOD review or whatever. I didn't want to do these type of things because I just thought that, like, the ways to kind of make it as a professional player was to kind of just play the game all day, right? Like, that was just kind of my mentality when it came to it, which also was my downfall, right? It was just like, oh, I want to play the game all day. When it's like, no, you should probably be doing VOD review. Probably should be doing all this extra shit that will make you better rather than just playing the game all day, I guess, which doesn't lead to success for sure, right? It doesn't. Yeah. So, I mean, if you're smarter about it, sure. But it's like not everybody is that smart, right?
In the end, we're all gamers. We're probably not responsible about it.
Nope. We're all terrible beings mentally, right? That's the most accurate way we could probably put it, right? It's probably the most accurate way we could put it. All right. We have our guest today, by the way, gentlemen. We have our guest today. Our guest today being a man who's, I think, ready. We'll see if he is, though. We'll see if he's ready. Our guest today is a professional player, or ex-professional player, now team owner, and also has won a championship. Unlike me. Michael Udall, what's going on, dude?
Let's go, Udall. Hey, Dustin, dude. Thank you for having me on.
Dude.
Thank you.
Dude, thanks for coming on, brother.
Yeah, I'm super happy to see this. How's it been going so far? I know you were doing Overwatch League. I know you started this in January, man. This has been like a month and a half. You do 5 shows a week. That's a crazy grind, man. How do you do it?
Oh, dude, it's literally, we were just talking about, we could bring this up as a first topic since, I mean, obviously you've been around it too. I don't know if you saw, but basically Elige, like, and a couple of other guys in the Valorant scene and, like, some other esports players, basically, they were talking about how, you know, the mentality of grinding, 12 hours a day and, playing the game 24/7 is actually not healthy, and it's actually terrible, and you should probably doing things like VOD review, that kind of stuff, right? And then in this situation, I mean, right now I'm even, like you said, we're grinding, but, like, they were saying this grind mentality is bad, right? They were saying it's not, like, healthy. Do you agree with that?
I got mixed feelings about it. I think at the end of the day, it depends on the person. I think the grind mentality can work for some people, and I think for doesn't work as well. For me, I've found that when I grind and I don't have balance, it's really, really hard. Is my camera leaking out? Is it working? Or
I could tell that, dude. What's going on?
Yeah, I see it's so blurry. Should I quit and rejoin, or I?
Yeah, go for it, man.
Okay.
I mean, maybe we'll see if it works. You're still on Discord, so. I think you're still on Discord. We'll try to fix it real quick.
Okay.
Yeah, no worries. Quick technical difficulties.
Yeah. But I mean, as far as the grind goes, I really think it depends on the individual. Because, like, some people, that works for them, right? Like just getting one thing and just running at that. But I think for most people, I've found for me, in certain moments, like when I won Heroes of the Dorm, which was basically, like the collegiate thing that I would say in esports I'm most known for. I lost my soul for like 8 months. All I did was play Heroes of the Storm and do VOD review. Like that was my entire life. And I achieved that thing that I wanted to do, which was win the tournament. But the next 6 months, I had like this existential crisis where, I was like, who am I now that this tournament is over? Because that's like all I had cared about. True. And it's like, I don't know if you went through something similar like that as a pro player, but it's like very high highs and very low lows. And it's like, I think in a normal day-to-day, I don't think that's a healthy way to live life. So it's like you have to weave in balance, and you need to find meaning that's more than just your work to actually, I think, have like a happy, fulfilling life. Or I struggle with it though, because all I do is work. So,
so what do you think about those? What do you think about those pros? Because I always looked at it with, I mean, I'm sure it's great for them long term, but like there's that mentality that, people are trying to leave like a legacy or whatever in esports, right? You have people trying to like leave a legacy. Are you reconnecting? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, I'm turning my camera on and off to see if that fixes it.
But so you mentioned how, like, people are. While you set that up, I'll keep trying to set this up for you. But basically, people like you mentioned, like Double Lift or some of these other guys will be like, oh, I want to leave a legacy and I want to kind of leave my mark on esports. But I always looked at, I guess, like kind of a juvenile way of thinking. I was like, can you really leave a legacy on esports? It just doesn't seem. I don't know. It seems like we're, first of all, too early on in the scene, and then second of all, like, there's new games every like fucking 5 years, right? Like there's new games popping up like every 5 years that people want to play professionally, right? And it leaves old games in the dust, right? Like pretty much every time a new game comes out. That's kind of what happens. So It's like, how do you really leave legacy when your game is not even prevalent anymore, right? Like, it's a weird scenario.
The turnover is so high, because it's like the NBA or the NFL, they have the Hall of Fame. It's been around for 100 plus years. I don't know. I think that is actually one of the most difficult problems the esports is going to have to solve. Sorry about those camera difficulties.
Oh, that's good now. You're good. I
think that's something that, and it's part of social media as well, where like every day there's new content and new things coming out. And our attention span, I think, as humans, it's like there's more things at our disposal, at our fingertips. And with games, right, there's going to constantly be new evolving games. And it's how do we build legacy? How do we build, storylines within the industry? Because that's important for it to survive. And I think you're kind of seeing it with Valorant, where it's like CSGO pros come and play it. There's a new game I've been playing, which is called Eternal Return Black Survival. It's like like a MOBA meets Battle Royale, and like Dyrus and a bunch of League of Legends players are playing it, and like HOTS players. And it's kind of like people evolve to their next game, and then they kind of evolve with that. Does that make sense? Like someone like Dyrus, I think, like no matter what he plays, he's going to have a following. And it's like, I think people will follow individuals more than scenes, which is an interesting transition, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely agree that like the top, especially with the, with like a lot of top streamers like Dyrus and stuff like that, that kind of move on from scene to scene. I kind of do agree. I mean, and it's interesting because Dyrus's personality is a lot like Shroud. It's a lot very, mellow, relaxed or whatever. And they'll follow him, right? And that's kind of how it is. But it's like, it's like, how do you get to that point, I suppose? How do you go from pro player to streamer or whatever? Like, how do you make that transition, you think? Like, can you it's just natural for some people that just have it in them? Is that kind of how it is?
I think it really is just a lot of hard work and consistency. I think to be a streamer, I mean, you look at most of them and they were being a pro player and they were streaming at the same time. And that's really, really, really hard to do. Like, you're spending like 12 hours a day playing the same video game and trying not to lose your mind. And it's like, so I think a lot of hard work is necessary. So it's kind of like you talk about that grind mentality. I think a lot of pro players are realizing that it's easier to be a content creator and it's more like lucrative to be a content creator than to be a pro player. Like, I think, I think people are realizing that's an easier way to, or I don't know if I actually fully agree with that. Well, like being a pro player is a really cool journey, but it feels like being a pro player is something that has an expiration, or at least it has in esports, where it's like people only last for 3 to 5 years because the grind's too high. And I think we need to get to a system where it's more like the NBA or the NFL, where people can be a pro player for 10, 20 years and maybe swap around a couple of different games as the new hot comes on. And, I think that's maybe more the future of esports, is like, maybe we do have a couple evolutions of what games we do like. And then maybe there's some like namestays, like a league.
Yeah, maybe it is. I mean, maybe we'll see like people start doing that anyway. It's like maybe we'll see, I guess people last upwards until their, mid 30s or whatever when they want to retire. But I don't know if you agree with me on this, Michael. Whenever so when I was like a kid in high school, I was like, okay, I want to, have like a social media platform. I was like, I kind of want to become like a big presence or whatever, right? Yeah. So I was like, what's the easiest way to do that? And I was just like, okay, the easiest way to do that kind of is through pro play almost. Like, it's like not necessarily easy at all, but in terms of where you have to build yourself, at least it gives you a reputation, right? At least it gives you something. Whereas if you didn't become a pro player, for example, it's like, where do you have to go after? Like, how do you build that foundation, I suppose, right? Where it's like, if you're playing professionally, it's like you can build that off of that, I suppose, to kind of go wherever you want to go, right?
You use it as a platform type thing.
Yeah. Do you think most people that go pro have that mentality too, or do you think it's just they go pro because they're good at video games or whatever, they don't think about it long term?
I think it really is, it's a wash. It's like a 50-50. I feel like half the pro players I've met, all they care about at the end of the day is they just want to compete and they want to play to win and they want to win. Yeah, exactly. They want to get a paycheck. They want to get paid to play, and that's good enough. I think the other half, they're like, oh, I could turn this into, my future career, or, like I could get into this new emerging space that is gaming. I think that it's like, you kind of have like the two camps, or it's not even camps. It's like everyone falls some shade within there. Yeah. Right. It's like everyone has varying things they're trying to do. And it's like, I would be curious though, because you mentioned that you always wanted like a social media platform and something. And I'd be curious, what do you feel like kind of drive that for you? Like, what made you, want to have a platform and something that you could, kind of speak on? Like, what inspired you to get into pro play?
Yeah, it was mainly just like, because it was just like watching streamers and YouTubers, whatever. Because I think I grew up in that era of where YouTube, like, I kind of started watching YouTube before it was like massively popular, obviously, like in 2008 or whatever. So I guess it was probably when I was about 10. You know, I was like watching these people. I was like, oh man, I want to be like this someday or whatever, right? And I guess it kind of grew up with that, and I started to. I guess a lot of people like I kind of was one of those people that was like a leech almost. You know what I'm saying? Like one of those like streamer leeches where there was a streamer called Spoon, and me and him are friends now. We're great. But I was like, I always try to type in his chat, and I always try to be like a mod for him. And I tried to like work my way up into that social structure of this smaller streamer to then eventually become my own thing, right? Like it was that path, I suppose, that I tried to take, and it kind of worked out in its own specific way. But yeah, I don't know. Were you in a similar boat, or did you always just kind of see of gaming as just kind of a fun hobby that you just kind of worked off of, and didn't look at the longer term, I guess?
Yeah, well, I mean, so the way I got into it is I had just graduated high school. I was going to ASU. And they basically, Blizzard announced that there was this Heroes of the Dorm. And really, more than anything, for me, it was a pride thing. My parents, my whole life, had basically told me that video games was a huge waste of time. And here was kind of like my first opportunity to be like, no, I got really good at these, and there's value in that. And I'm going to win college tuition to prove to you that there is. So basically, I played in that, lost, and then the following year, we won it. So basically, the way I got into it was more of like, which is kind of dumb, but it was more of like, I'm always competitive. I like competing. And then it also was a little bit to like prove to myself and to my family that like, hey, video games are not a waste of time. This is something that I can turn into, a productive career. And, I can find happiness through this, is what really, I think, motivated it. But I just, at the end of the day, I just think esports is really cool, and I'm excited to see where it goes. I just like because it's pretty new. Like I remember you and I having conversations when we were both in college, right? And that was like 5 years ago, right? We were kind of like both in college. You were on the collegiate team, and you were like unsure on if you wanted to stay on the collegiate team or you wanted to go to the pro team. And it's it's come so far in 5 years, and I'm curious to see what the next 5 has in store. And it's like
I mean, I don't know if you agree with me, but like it seems like in the collegiate scene specifically, I mean, it's kind of been like weird. It's like there was this huge surgence, like when you played Heroes of the Dorm, when Overwatch they tried to do something, it wasn't as big as Heroes of the Dorm. But I mean, like Heroes of the Dorm was probably the peak of, or at least HOTS was like the peak of collegiate like esports, and it's kind of gone downhill since then. To be honest with you, I don't know if you agree with me, but it seems like for the most part. It like there's a bunch of de-investment. Like there's not really people investing in collegiate esports now, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, so Tespo was a big company that drove it. So basically, Tesco was founded by the Rosen twins, and basically, I don't know all the details, but basically, one of the founders, their like sexual allegations that came out, they were like super horrific. So they it completely got shut down, as it should. Like when you find out something like that, it needs to be shut down. Like that's not okay. And like we need to not let people like that be in the industry. But I think that really threw a huge wrench into the collegiate esports that was going on, right? Because that was Blizzard, right? And Tespo was basically bought by Blizzard. It was like their collegiate league where they did Heroes of the Dorm, the Overwatch. And it kind of got shut down, because that one individual made those actions that kind of got it all completely messed up. So I think there's a big like vacancy right now in the collegiate space. But I also think part of it has to do with just the NCAA is... like there's so much drama around it, and like they were trying to get involved in the collegiate space. Like I had a couple of meetings with people from the NCAA after ASU won, where like they're like, hey, how should the Pac-12 get involved in this? And they didn't understand it. At the end of the day, they thought it was like normal traditional sports, and they're like, you'll come play for us, you'll get a tuition, you won't be able to play in any other tournaments. I'm like, that's not how it works. It's like you have open qualifiers and things like people playing different games. It's like they're not going to commit for 4 years to play this game for you. And I think the collegiate space is kind of a mess right now. And I think there's some people working really hard. Like I know Garvey at Twitch is doing things, but I also feel like college sports just as a whole are a little bit of a mess right now with the NCAA.
Yeah. I mean, do you think it ever sort itself out? Because I know that specifically ASU, whenever we, or at least what I heard behind the scenes with conversations, I don't want to, if you're still talking to them or whatever, but I know their board members, like a lot of them are like what people will call like the old whites or whatever, right? Where it's like they're just like this old group of guys that don't really understand it and will kind of push against it wherever they can, right? Is that kind of accurate as how it describes a lot of these board members / the NCAA and stuff like that?
I mean, it's interesting because like, I was having all these conversations when I was 19, Dustin. So I didn't have any. I I had no idea, like the people I was talking to when I was talking to them. So I didn't like really take notes. I kind of just like would chat with them. And it was a little bit like that. I mean, some of them saw it as like a new innovation, right? Like I'd tell them that like people like Mark Cuban were involved and like Rick Fox, you know, it's like you have these names that they know that gives them reference of why this industry has credibility. Yeah, it's not enough. And there was one of these people that basically like ASU was having an initiative about being healthy. And they thought that basically promoting esports and gaming, what they were trying to promote being healthy, couldn't coexist. And I was like, a lot of gamers are really healthy and they work out and like they eat right. Like that's not. I tried to. I don't know. I just felt like they had decided like the stereotype that gamers were and weren't open to seeing something else. But I mean, that's not everyone at ASU. There were a lot of people at ASU that were great, but I felt like from like the NCAA and Pac-12 level, that's kind of like the interpretation I got from those people.
So how do you feel, speaking about ASU, we can kind of go back on that though, but how do you feel about like being like a almost like a ASU hero almost, because at least for esports wise, because I know that whenever people talk to you or like mentioned you and stuff like that at ASU, like it was like a long conversation where it was just like a lot of praise, right? Like how do you feel about that scenario? Because I mean, just from my perspective, like I wasn't really that involved at ASU, to be honest. Like I was there for a year, and then I just like kind of didn't even like do anything really, and then I was credited with somehow making the Overwatch club at ASU. I was like, okay, I don't really get why that happened, but
like rah.
Yeah, but like, what do you think about being like kind of the face of ASU esports as a whole? I guess because that's kind of how you are over there, like looked at ASU.
I mean, I think it's overblown. Like there were 6 people on our team that won Heroes of the Dorm. There were a lot of people involved in the staff that helped with marketing. Like, I'm given way more credit than I should be. I definitely worked hard to try and make esports be a thing. At ASU, it actually was really cool. After we won Heroes of the Dorm, I had a meeting with, basically the dean of the university, which that guy is really scary.
Oh, really? Why?
I forgot his last name. His first name's Michael.
Was that Crow?
Michael Crow. Yeah, it's Michael Crow.
Yeah.
And I remember, so I met him. He shakes my hand and he says, "Do you know what Michael means in the Bible?" And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "It means the slayer of demons or something." And like that's just like the first words out of his mouth to me. And I was like, "What the hell? Who is this man?"
Jeez, dude.
But basically, I kind of like talked to him and pushed for like, hey, esports is a new emerging thing. It's something you should get involved in. But bad things said, like, I don't think I was a mover and shaker. Like there are a lot of people within the administration that I think saw how big esports was going to be and they wanted to get involved. What really sucked though is like we tried to get a room set up, and then they literally bought the room. They bought like all the computers and all the stuff. And then they weren't really letting anyone use it because they didn't understand the concept that once we won, we wouldn't play in it again. I like continually told them that like, hey, we won, we're not playing again. That's not how it works. And they wanted us to like play the next year in Heroes of the Dorm. And I was like, guys, that's not, like, we can't play again. We already won college tuition. That would be lame. It's like the whole point of it is that people get college tuition. So but I think ASU is kind of involved. They're trying to figure out, it's a huge organization with a lot of bureaucracy. So it's like, it's kind of hard to move things along, I think, just in general.
Well, and I mean, just to kind of go back on your pro play, this is a little bit of a change, but it seems like ASU is kind of they're trying to do something. But I mean, like a lot of collegiate esports are, but like right now I mentioned it, it's just kind of a hard scene. It's like it's still a development. I don't think it'll really. I think we'd have to see, to be honest, esports as a whole probably develop first before collegiate esports is like, because to be honest with you, like obviously you're not gonna. Most most pro teams, I mean, I don't know how you transition specifically. I think it was kind of like this, but besides from your case, in a lot of cases, people don't look at like, the top players are going to be in collegiate, right? In collegiate esports. They're like, oh, that's just a bunch of people that are trying to go to college and they're just playing video games or whatever, right? Like that's kind of the mindset a lot of people have and a lot of pro teams have. Like you don't look at collegiate as your first option. You look at tier 2, right? You're looking at, everybody else outside of whatever league is going on at the time, right?
Well, and the thing is, the reason collegiate was a good option is Heroes of the Storm was coming out. Like they used Heroes of the Dorm. The tournament happened before Heroes of the Storm, the game released. Like the game was in beta when the tournament happened. So they used Heroes of the Dorm as this big marketing push, right? So Heroes of the Dorm was this marketing push that also had like a feels good. We're giving college kids tuition. Was that that's kind of their philosophy behind it. So I think that's part of why it worked for me, because I agree with you. Like the next couple years for Heroes of the Dorm, like years 1, 2, and 3, a lot of those players got into the pro scene. But year 4, I mean, like the pro scene was already developed at that time, right? And like you said, there was a tier 2 scene that everyone went to. So the reason Heroes of the Dorm helped is it was like the most high stakes HOTS tournament there was, right? I was playing for $100,000. Like, you know, that's way more money than I've ever played for since then. So
yeah. Well, do you think that's like, because that's just how Blizzard does it, right? Because it seems like Blizzard almost likes to market things before they're even released, right? I mean, obviously, if Heroes of the Dorm happened during the fucking beta, then you have Overwatch League being, what is it called? Just shoved up people's asses before Overwatch is even out, right? Like, that's kind of what Blizzard does. And then eventually it just kind of fades away usually. Like Overwatch League right now is not necessarily in a great spot, and they just tried to make a big push for it at the very beginning. And obviously they did the same thing in Heroes of the Storm, and it seems like that's their strategy now. You know, it seems like, and I don't know if it's necessarily been a successful strategy. Like I don't
think it has been that successful. You know, Heroes of the Storm, the whole pro scene got axed. You know, that was a hard experience for a lot of people. You know, seeing on Twitter that me and 200, 300 of my friends, we all just lost our jobs. You know, like I just found out my friend bought a car a week before. It's like stuff like that has like real world implications. And I definitely feel like Blizzard, you know, I love their games. I really do. I grew up on StarCraft. I grew up on Warcraft. Like I will always love their games. But I do feel like the direction it's been going has not been that good. I think there's a lot of great individuals at Blizzard. Like I love Blizzard. I want to work with Blizzard to like make it better. But I feel like their community outreach has just not been very good. I feel like they don't have a pulse on what people actually want. And, you know, and they don't do a good job about communicating what they're trying to do. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's like, it's okay to be incorrect, but like, let's have a conversation, like, let us in, like, because so that's kind of how I feel about it. And,
no, that's fair.
I just, I mean, cause it's like, you look at League and it's like, or like some other publishers, and it's like, they're handled in different ways with different pros and cons. But I feel like there are a couple things they do that it's like, hey, let's learn from what they're doing and the way that they communicate with their players and their community, because I think that's a really important thing is the publisher and the community need to have conversations on the best ways to build a community and grow it together. And it's like Overwatch League, I felt bad for the players. You guys had like no say in anything that was going on. Really? Right? Or do you feel like you did? Like you kind of just get thrown around and it's like...
Yeah, kind of just went along with it. Yeah. Kind of...
It probably was cool as hell. Like it probably was a really cool experience, but it's, you know, it's probably crazy too.
Yeah, I don't think it's very sustainable, at least, because it seems like for the most part right now with esports, people, it doesn't matter, organizations, whatever, now, because now you own an organization, obviously, and a lot of organizations just kind of, the way to build it almost seems like, okay, for example, the Atlanta Reign, the team I joined in Season 2 of Overwatch League, this team was an expansion team. The idea behind it was just fucking throw a shit ton of money in, right? And hopefully we get our name out there and our org out there, whatever, right? That's like the strategy. And then like sustainability wise, they don't have a plan for like a roadmap for the long term, right? Or it's just to budget it off over time. So it seems like the strategy right now, where for Blizzard's like, oh, pump a lot of money in, dump later. You know, it's like that's just kind of how it is. It dies over time. And I don't know. It doesn't seem very sustainable. I don't know if you agree. It doesn't seem like pumping in a bunch of money and then just sitting on it. It doesn't seem like it's going to do anything.
It feels like they're building it in the wrong direction. You know, it's like you need to build small and then go big. And I think they go big, you know, and then they go a little bit smaller and then slowly decrease, or maybe they'll bump back up. But it's like, you know, I think you need to build that's what happened with the HGC is that they basically came out like, and HOTS' esports scene was doing pretty decent. We had like 20, 30, 40, 50,000 concurrent viewers for, you know, our championships, our North American qualifiers. You know, like it's not amazing viewership numbers, but it's not terrible. But then they come out and announce that they're going to do this, like, you know, $3 million worldwide for pro players. That's just the prize pool. Their production cost is probably anywhere from like $3 to $5 million. They have staff. It's like, this is a huge project that they're endeavoring on. And it's like, hey, if you just did half of this and scaled it over 6 years instead of doing, you know, twice as much in 3 years, you know, this could actually be a sustainable thing. Like, that's how I feel about it, is that maybe they just...
How do you... I guess how do you market that though, right? Because how do you market? It's like, oh, we're just trying to have this, you know, smaller thing over the course of a like it'll be a good investment, but it won't be as grandiose or whatever. Like that seems like esports right now to market it. You're like, oh shit, millions of dollars for TI, right? I know you had your little stint in Dota a little bit ago.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, TI has this thing where it's millions. But the thing is, I guess the difference between TI and everybody else is that it's just like that's community backed for
it's
one,
crowdfunded,
and then for two, it's just like it just continually does get better and better over the course of like 10 years or whatever. Like they have a long track of that happening, whereas these other people don't really.
Yeah.
But that's like the marketing, like that's the way that people reach the modern media, I suppose. Is just be like, oh guys, look at all this money we have, right? And then it's just like that's great short term to get you publicity, but it's not long term at all.
Yeah, no, I think esports organizations are having a really difficult time right now, and I know I am, right? So I've owned an esports organization for 6 months, so I'm new to this. You know, before that, I was a professional player for basically 4 years. So the organization is called 30K. The reason I started it is so basically Heroes of the Storm, we're restarting and we're rebooting the esports scene. So there's a company called Wisdom Media Group. They basically throw tournaments. So they're throwing a tournament called CCL within Heroes of the Storm. They're also involved in TFT, League of Legends amateur scene. They're doing stuff in ERBS. They're in like, you know, a bunch of different communities throwing tournaments. So, I mean, they have like a $3 million Series A. So they're like a legit, you know, person throwing tournaments. And they're basically throwing a league called CCL, and there's 8 organizations that are a part of it. So I was one of the organizations that was chosen. And part of that is because of like my, you know, history within Heroes of the Storm. And then also because I've wanted to get more into the business side, and that's something that I've always been kind of passionate about. So it's very much like a community run league. We raised over $20,000 in basically community prize pool. And basically what they did is it was $600 for each player. It was like a 3-month season. And it was the first major Heroes of the Storm tournament that we've had in like a year and a half since they canceled HGC. There have been a couple other tournaments and people have been keeping the scene alive, but it definitely is like a night and day Heroes of the Storm where it's at now to where it was a year ago. And it's something that like we're really excited to see where it goes. We have season 2 that's going to be happening basically this upcoming in August. There's a live draft. So the way that it works is every team has six players, had to drop 2 of them, and we're going to basically redraft them. And there's going to be a new organization coming in as well. So we're doing like a lot of like interesting, not necessarily done before esports mechanics, but it's like, hey, this is our scene. We're going to rebuild it how we want to. And at the end of the day, esports and gaming is about having fun, and you watch it because you want it to be entertaining. And one of my favorite parts about the NBA and the NFL is the draft. And I think it's like a fun part and a fun element within Heroes of the Storm because we have veterans, right? We have people that have been playing for 5 or 6 years. So it's like the draft actually is interesting because you do have names that, you know, kind of get paired up that you never thought would be possible.
No. Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree. I like the draft. And I think also 2K League does it too, I think. I don't know to what degree. I don't know how the exact rules work, but I think they're kind of similar. But yeah, I don't know. Like, what for you personally, because you obviously made your organization from going pro play. It's kind of like two kind of separate questions to some degree, but they're kind of correlated. First of all, I mean, like, why did you decide to go from pro play to then actually being an organization owner? And then for 2, do you actually plan to then expand your organization to like other esports eventually?
So to answer the first question, it's funny because I told myself I would never start an esports organization because I was a part of Gale Force Esports and it was a goddamn shit show.
Yeah, it's the same thing in Overwatch for them.
Oh my gosh, dude, it was a shit show, and I was there from the beginning, and I would be on phone calls with the owner, Ryan, who was investing all the money, and the CEO, Madness, and just like, it was up and down, and like, it was for like 3 years. It was terrible. Like, I watched it, and I was like, esports organizations, they are a terrible business model, which I still kind of believe, even though I have one. I just don't, you know, it's like, I'm a Twitch streamer, which adds a revenue source, where basically it's like, my Twitch stream and my organization like work together, right? Where it's like they feed each other. Which I don't think if I had that, I don't think I'd be interested in an organization. So that was a big thing that was like hard for me to overcome. But your question is, how did I transition, or why did I transition? I've always been interested in the pro scene, or like the business aspect of things. Like, I really loved being a pro player, but it's a lot of work and it's really hard. And I kind of fell out of my love for competing. I realized that there's more to life to winning. And I think part of what made me a good player is that I had this endless passion and desire to win, and I would just outwork you. And I was just going to play the game relentlessly. And that allowed me to basically like become the best Heroes of the Storm player that I could become. But I realized that I wanted balance in my life. And if I want balance in my life, I'm not going to be able to fully give myself to being a pro. And if I can't like fully give myself, I don't want to do it. And the second question, I am looking to get into other games. So right now, ERBS is kind of like an emerging community that I've currently been playing in tournaments, so I'm doing some pro play, but it's like a lot more casual. And I've thought about getting some people involved in that. Also, Dota 2. I played Dota 2 for about a year after they killed HGC, and I got to like the top like 150. So I was playing with like a bunch of the high level NA players, and I know some of them, and they kind of redid their whole DPC scene. So Dota 2 is actually pretty cool right now. They have like a fan pack. So basically, if you're in Division 1 or Division 2, you can like make logos and stuff and put it in the game. And it's they have cosmetics and stuff like built in. So Dota 2 is something I'm really interested in. I might need outside investment before I can actually get that, which, I mean, we'll see if I can even ever get outside investment. I mean, that's something I've never done, but I'm optimistic. Cool, yeah, it would be really cool. You know, that's what I keep telling myself. It would be really cool. But yeah, so that's currently, I would love to get into other games, but it's just really expensive.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And then for Heroes of the Storm, I mean, so I guess, because Samantha had a question for you, and I think so one of our staff members, she basically said, you know, how do you feel about, you know, Blizzard's take on Heroes of the Storm and what they've done to manage the game, I suppose? Because I know a couple of my friend group like love playing HOTS, and there's a lot of really creative characters, I think, character design wise, and it's interesting. But, you know, what's your take on where Blizzard took Heroes of the Storm in the, I guess it's been what, 6-7 years now since. It's been more than that. It's been 6, 7, maybe 8 years.
It's been like 6, 7, 8 years. It's been a while. I would say probably like 6 years.
6 years. Yeah.
I mean, as far as the game goes, I think the game is really cool. I really like what they did with it. It's a unique twist on MOBA. I mean, I think Blizzard should have gotten into the MOBA genre earlier, right? Like, I think if they released Heroes of the Storm 2 or 3 years earlier, before League of Legends and Dota 2 have like a really large market cap of MOBA market, I think that would have been really good for the game. But as far as direction, they pulled a lot of the developers off, so there's not as many people working on it. I would really like if they could up the content schedule a little bit. You know, it's like
it's a Blizzard issue.
Yeah, they just don't change the game. It's like it just gets stale. It's like, I've played 1,000 games on this patch. You know, it's like, I'm ready for something new. I don't really want to play it until there's a new patch that actually changes things. So I feel like that's the biggest thing that's actually hurting Heroes, is it's just stale right now, and they need to, you know, update it and change it a little bit. And it's okay if you change it and it doesn't necessarily make it better. At least it's different, and we can like evolve and change and improve. So I think that's the biggest thing that Blizzard is, that I kind of really get frustrated about. And then also just more community involvement. Like, they started to get involved on their Heroes like esports Twitter again with CCL, where they were like retweeting stuff, which was pretty cool. I would love if they put us on the launcher, since like we are kind of the esports scene for Heroes of the Storm. Like, that's something that a bunch of other publishers do and a bunch of other developers do. Like, I think that only is good for your game, and I think it's not that hard to do. So I would love to see Blizzard get more involved in that way as well.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be dope. I mean, you mentioned how you started to play Dota too, right? I mean, obviously. And you started playing Heroes of the Storm, back like when you were 18, right? Or was that? Yeah. So pretty much, I guess, would you have gone, you know, professional in like League of Legends, for example, or Dota 2? Like, what was stopping you in your head from playing those games professionally instead of Heroes of the Storm?
That's a good question. I mean, when Heroes of the Storm first, like, we all believed that it was going to be the next big thing. You know, it's like everyone that was playing in Heroes of the Storm was drinking the Kool-Aid. We were like, oh, it's at least in the early days, the first year or two, and then, you know, and then we tapered off. But like, I think it's kind of arrogant to believe that I could have just swapped games and become good enough. I was also kind of, you know, with Heroes of the Storm, that was kind of like one of the peak collegiate events for esports. You know, it was on ESPN, and I was the fucking golden boy that Blizzard had crowned, because the year that I did it, they filmed this documentary and they put like way more publishing into it. And it's like, that had nothing to do with me. That was luck, right? like, I could have won the next year and it would have been a different person in my shoes. You know, it's like, they had a marketing budget and I happened to fill the role that they wanted. So, you know, HOTS for me, it was kind of like I had already ascended in that community, and like trying to go to a different one is really hard to do. And I think it's arrogant to believe that I could just become good enough. And I tried to become really good in Dota. And, you know, I got to a point where I think I was playing in the amateur scene, but, you know, the grind from amateur to pro is so hard, right? It's like a year and a half of just like working your butt off for like minimal opportunities. And, you know, it's like you have to get your one shot and you have to like capitalize on it. And that's a lot of pressure, and it's really hard to go through that. So, I you know, I do daydream of like, oh, what if I could have been a league pro and it would have been so much bigger? Of course. I mean, everyone does. Like, but I think comparing is like the root of all sadness, you know? Like at the end of the day, it just makes me feel worse. Like whether I'm looking up or down on the ladder of life. So
no, it's very fair. It's true. I mean, generally and without, you know, pretty much everybody would probably say that. It's like, no, you can't really look back and be like, oh, I'd rather do this or whatever. It's like, no, you just can't really compare yourself because your life decisions, your life choices, right? That's all you. That's not like, it's not like you can compare yourself to fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger when the dude's like juiced up on roids and has extreme genetics. Like that's a different scenario. Okay. That's just like, that's not you. But I mean, so but obviously you said that's arrogance, but so do you think you could have made it as a Dota professional though? You think you could have?
Yeah, I do. I think I could have.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. I mean, maybe it is there, but I got really good, dude. In a year, I went from like gold to like top 150, and like I was already networking, man. I was playing with like a bunch of the high. So basically, they have DPC right now, where it's Division 1 and Division 2, and a bunch of the players I was playing with are in like top of Division 2. And Division 1 is with EG, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, they're like top 12, top 15 team in North America. Maybe I would have been like 15 to 10 rank, you know, but maybe not. Maybe I would have been worse than that. But it's like, that's where I think I would have fallen in like the 15 to 10 team. But I would have improved over the years, you know, in 6 months, maybe on team number 8. And then like next year, maybe I break out and win TI. Who knows?
Well, even I mean, to be honest though, Dota 2 is like probably one of the riskier scenes to even get involved in, right? I mean, just because of the fact that they don't even support tier 2 at all, right? It's just
so top heavy.
Yeah, it's really top heavy. But I mean, I guess that makes it so if you get to the fucking top, you're literally gone, right? You're the richest esports player in the entire world, the No Tail, right? And those guys, like the dude literally has a a fucking mansion. You see that shit, dude?
No Tail is stupid fucking rich. He is dumb rich.
He doesn't give a shit now, too. He doesn't need to, I suppose. Lucky bastard. But shit, thanks for coming on, Michael, bro. It was awesome chatting with you again and catching back up. Because last time I saw you was fucking, BlizzCon 2016? One of the first times I saw you. One of the last times I saw you, too. Was at a fucking, like, rooftop party when I was, like, 20?
Yeah.
Or something like that?
So long ago.
Like, dude, oh, my God. Yeah. We need to catch back up. Hopefully, BlizzCon happens next year. Because BlizzCon's always lit until... the private parties happened like the other time. Or did you go to any of them last year? They were fucking. I was cockblocked from. Or did you even go to BlizzCon last year?
I didn't go to BlizzCon last year. I was like emo, trying to figure my stuff out because they had like canceled HGC and stuff. But yeah, no, dude. Seriously, BlizzCon
during that year too. Oh my God.
Yeah, I was gonna say if they do BlizzCon, it'd be super fun to catch up. And I just want to say I love your show, man. I've been following. I saw your announcement video. I think like your hard work, I see it, man. And I see you grinding, I see you hustling, and I want to let you know I respect it, man. I think everyone in your community probably does too. And thanks for having me be a part, and I'm excited to hang out in the future, my man.
I appreciate it. Do you get good luck with your grind? Well, real quick, do you have any, speaking about that though, do you have anything you would like to plug again? I mean, you kind of did it pre-show anywhere during the show, but do you have anything extra you'd like to talk about before we let you go?
I mean, so just follow me. I stream on Twitch. So twitch.tv/Michael Udall. It's just my first and last name. And then follow me on Twitter. It's Michael_Udall. And the organization that I'm a part of, it's called 30K. So 30K org everywhere. And we're having merch coming soon. We have 2 teams competing in Heroes of the Storm coming into ERBS soon. Yeah.
Why'd you come up with 30K? Just real quick. Why was that the name that you came up with?
So, I think it looks cool. Like I like the brand with it.
Leave it there.
I'll show you. It's right here. So that's the logo. So
that is pretty fucking clean.
It's like a little graffiti. So, and the story behind it is, I have the highest MMR ever achieved in Heroes of the Storm. I was the only person to ever get 30K rank points. And
oh my God.
So that season, I had 523 games played, and I had a 67.5% win rate.
Was there a limit? Was there a limit to SR in HOTS or no?
It kind of had like a soft cap. So basically, when I went from like 2,500 to 30,000, I was getting like 150 a win, and I'd lose 350 a loss. So I had to win 3 games for every loss to like improve. And they had just implemented voice comms, and I was like a shot caller. That's what I was known for. So I literally
common like crazy.
Yeah, dude, I would get everyone would join and everyone would join comms, and I was like, all right, boys, let's go. And I would like draft like for everyone, and then I would just like shot call and like super micromanage. You got them
playing for. Like, they wanted to get you 30K, basically, right?
Oh, no, for sure. Yeah, like, the people on my team were, like, trying to get me 30K, and then all the other pros would snipe me. It was actually, like, one of the most fun I had, right? Because they all didn't want me to get it, and, like, it was a good time.
Yeah, dude, that sounds fun as shit. That's a sick name. But, yo, thanks for coming on, though, Michael, for sure, dude. We'll have to catch back up for sure in the future. Thanks for reaching out and talking to me again, dude. So, we'll catch you later, bro. Thanks for coming. Michael Udall, everybody. Thanks for here. Let's go.
You.
See you later, Mike. You too, buddy. All right, that was Michael Udall.
What a you legend.
What a fucking legend, dude. What a fucking legend, mate. Right there. No, he's awesome. Great dude. A lot more accomplished than me, making his own organization, dude. That's fucking nuts, man. That's actually nuts. I can't imagine.
You could have done it.
I mean, listen, I still have a chance to. He's older than me, okay? You know, I have a chance to catch up to Mike. You know, I have a chance to get to him.
Getting some investor money.
Oh, yeah, I do. I do need to make the fucking DB clan a thing, bro, okay? DB clan coming up, you know what I'm saying? No, I don't know. Actually, I do want to make DB a thing, though. That would be kind of cool if we could make a team off that. You know what I'm saying? Make it look like a penis, whatever you want. Whatever you fucking want, you know?
I don't want that.
Listen, I want that.
You're not wrong.
Exactly. It would look good.
I just want to forget that you said that.
It would look good. Just make a giant, phallical-looking DB. Yo, thanks for coming to the show today, guys. Thanks to Samantha, Siren, and fucking Tolberto in the background for being awesome individuals, helping the show be awesome because myself, Max, and Anthony definitely do not. So thanks for coming today, boys. We'll catch you tomorrow. Week 8, like we said. This is... Well, I mean, we could talk about the Daigo thing again, but I mean, we don't really need to. The guy, basically, Anthony, run us down real quick what happened. Before we go,
real quick.
Run us down what happened for Daigo.
Everyone knows Daigo for the Daigo parry. Evo Moment 37. Who doesn't know about it? He's 39 years old. Won in a East Capcom Pro Tour season finals. Went 4-1 against Gachakin while playing with a broken finger. Played with his left pinky being broken. And the reason it was like so tough for him to play, it was like normally people use a stick, but he uses a hitbox. I got one right here. It looks like this. It's
oh god, you need your pinky then, right?
Yeah, buttons only. No stick. So that's why it was like a little harder for him to play with that.
Still fucking won though.
He won 4-1
at like 30 fucking 2 years old or some shit, right? He's like
years old.
39. Oh my god, Jesus.
Yeah, big news in Street Fighter V is they're reintroducing Dan into the newest Street Fighter. Dan is a fan favorite. Personal favorite, at least.
The pub stomper.
Player's character.
There was that saying that Daigo streamed immediately after winning, right? Like, he didn't even fucking take a break.
Right back into it. It's like, fuck it.
Fucking old man Daigo still popping off, bro. Unbelievable.
They're adding a new mechanic called V-Shift. Defensive mechanic. Gives you invincibility in a backdash, and you can punish people who attack you during those iframes.
Oh, shit, man. God fucking damn. Yeah, I would get smashed if I ever played against Street Fighter again. If we did play the new one.
A lot of people don't like 5 because the skill floor is just so much higher than the other Street Fighters.
Oh, hell yeah. Maybe it's time for me to get in, baby. Maybe it's time for me to beat Anthony's ass in fighting games for once. You know what I'm saying? Maybe
you can give it a try.
No, I will not because I know you'll be better than me no matter what I do. So, not a preferable preference. double down. Yo, but thanks for coming to the show today, guys. Like we said, week 8 is officially begun. We're on the final week of this month, and heading into March. What are your guys' goals, man? February? Yeah, heading into March. Wait.
Maybe say it on Friday. Say it on Friday.
Okay, say it on Friday right now. Fine, dude. Yeah. We'll say it on Friday. On that bombshell, we'll catch you guys tomorrow. I think we have a guest, but we'll have to wait to announce him tomorrow morning. So be aware. Be awake. You'll find out tomorrow at 8 a.m. Arizona time, or aka 7 a.m. PST. You know what I'm saying? So on that bombshell, Overwatch 2 sucks.
Oh my god.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, you're not. I know you're not.
Oh, I know his itches. I'm not. No, I am. I'll still play it. I actually do want to. I actually am looking forward to it.
Better. Looking forward to hopefully a new Street Fighter that has a better Street Fighter.